on the broadcast. Mr. Nambiar, I'll come to you first. Now, it doesn't matter that this lady was a Congress worker. At the end of the day, she was raising a valid concern. How does this reaction help this MLA in any way? It only creates more distrust between public officials and the voters.
Well, Ayush, man, this is very unfortunate. As very senior leader like Arvind Limbavli, he's been one of the senior most general secretary of the BJP for the longest of time, and one of the respected and a very senior leader of a political party. I think he should have behaved a bit more matured. This is not expected from, forget about an MLA, he's not just an MLA, as I said, he's a very senior leader. This is definitely not expected. Now, of course, we can have multiple versions, whether that the lady who was, whether it is a Congress or any other party worker, she may have tried to create this situation on her own because of her political affiliation to somebody. But that doesn't matter. At political life, when you are in a social life and that too on commanding on a leadership position, we expect the leaders to behave very civil, and especially when it comes to with the women or the ladies, it has to be even more better. Because at the end of the day, we look at all these so-called the people's representatives as the ideals. They are our leaders. They are supposed to show us the way and the character, how one should be behaving. So it's very unfortunate, and to be very honest, I was on that part of the world in the last 2-3 days. It was very bad as one of the global cities. Bengaluru is not just a city in Karnataka or just a city in India, but it is a global city. The people look up to Bengaluru as a destination, not just for IT and various stuffs. We have some of our very scientific organizations and the institutions of very repute are there in the city. I think it's very unfortunate that the city is crumbling down during the monsoon, and both the government needs to be, the political leaders needs to be a bit more sensitive to the people who are going through that crisis. Most of our leaders do have all the best facilities one can get in this country, but not the common man. And when that kind of a situation, a common person, irrespective of that lady belongs to which political alliance, should have Mr. Arvind Limbavli, whom I know personally, should have been behaved a bit more matured way. But I'm sure that there may be one more version. It may be his version. We also need to hear that. But before that, no matter what you say, that we always expect our leaders to be in news for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. That too from behaving with a woman.
Absolutely, but even beyond his version, no matter what kind of provocation it was, he is a representative of the people. He should have behaved in a more dignified manner. This is coming right ahead of the state elections as well, where beyond Savarkar and other issues, it's the basic, the basic infrastructure issues, the basic brick and mortar issues that people are looking for. They want a resolution for that. And if once you confront a local official saying that, there are these infrastructure problems in my area, to get a reaction like that just creates more distrust with the political class. Ravi Srivastava, I want to bring you in on this as well. Now, it's not as if this MLA was gheraud by a group of Congress workers. There was just this one lady over there with a paper in her hand. She had her documentation. She wanted to address the fact that her property had been wrongly identified for demolition. At the same time, you also see this VIP culture where you have a group of people with the BJP MLA. He has his entourage with him. He has a guy holding an umbrella for him, as his aide. And in the middle of all of this, if someone is coming to him and saying that I have this problem, please, can you address it? He's saying, I will put you behind bars. How does that create any sense of trust, any sense of responsibility when it comes to our elected representatives, especially when there are glaring infrastructure issues in a city like Bengaluru?
Ayushman, I think my friend calling it a unfortunate incident is an understatement. Mm-hmm. It is not a unfortunate thing. Is the arrogance which has gone to the head of the BJP elected representatives for that matter. I am in Bangalore, I see the collapse of the infrastructure in the city is unprecedented. The city had turned into a lake. I don't know what the government is doing and what the previous governments have done. The fact is that this lady, the way, whether she is from Congress or JDU or TMC is immaterial. She's a
Absolutely.
lady and she is a resident of that particular Mahadevpura area where Arvind Limbavali represents the assembly of the state. So she has gone there with a representation. Whether she was surrounded by her followers or friends or relatives, it also does not matter. She was amicably handing over a representation. The way Limbavali behaved, it is totally uncalled for. And this man should be immediately suspended by the party. It is not that he is a lone case. There are not one. You have not seen the Vinita Agarwal in the UP who was stealing the kids. You have got a Seema Patra in the head of the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao in Ranchi, and the way she was dealing with her maid. You have seen not one, several incidents where these BJP MLAs, the top party workers, the way they are insulting the people. So this case is also a similar. His daughter, I recall, a police car had passed. She was in a BMW, and she had just, the way she shouted, you have shown those videos. The way she shouted on the police personnel, telling them that you don't know whose car is this. And ultimately, there are people who were in the car, they paid by the credit card the fine. They had some 5 or 6 offences against that particular car. And the person paid by a credit card of the car, then only she was released. And this Limbavali did not condemn the incident even once. Because he was his own daughter. So what I'm saying is that it's not that one thing. There are several issues. There was a contractor who was openly telling on camera that we used to pay earlier 5% bribe. Now we are forced to pay 40% bribe. You have got everything on camera, on record. I am not telling anything out of the cuff. This is
Absolutely.
all factual and before the people of this country. So I think the BJP must take the action if they want to improve their image for that matter, which is already sagging in Karnataka completely. So they must immediately take an action against this rogue MLA, I must say, and he should be immediately, taken to task. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think action should be taken by the BJP, but this is beyond party tags, Mr. Srivastava. I think this is an issue when it comes to the political class in Karnataka, be it whichever party. As you were pointing out, it didn't matter who this lady was, which party she belonged to. At the same time, it doesn't matter which party Mr. Lambiwali belongs to. He could be from any party, but he can't behave like this with a voter. Let's get a view from some of the callers who are calling in from Bengaluru. I'm joined by Jayant, who's calling in from Bengaluru. Jayant, what is the situation right now in your city when it comes to the flood crisis that has hit the IT capital of the country? And how do you react to a representative picked by the people behaving like this when a voter is coming up to him and saying, I have an issue, can you please help me?
This is I'm aghast and surprised at the way this elected representative has behaved and what I'm seeing in your TV channel. It is very surprising that such people who are elected by the people and who come to the people for votes, when the votes are given and when they are elected, they behave in such a manner. I really remember our Honorable Prime Minister, when he says that I am the Pradhan Sevak, then in that case, these people who are all elected should be the Sevak of our people. Is this the way the Sevaks behave to their masters? I'm really surprised, aghast, and I feel this gentleman should be stern action should be taken by the party against this gentleman, and more serious action should be taken by the people. When the next election comes, he should be voted out of power. Then only this arrogance and ego, which is already in their head, will come down.
Absolutely.
I'm really